Subramanian Chidambaranji from Mumbai is going to talk about Bhagavata Purana as a major text of Kevala Advaita Vedanta. Over to you, Subramanian Chidambaranji.
Namaskaram to all. I'll share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, please.
Okay. So namaste, namaskaram to all, and I thank Nagaraj ji, Harikiran ji, and all the members of the Indic Academy for this opportunity. So my topic today is Bhagavata Purana as a major text of Kevala Advaita Vedanta. Now Bhagavata Purana, the moment we hear that name itself, it's the very essence or source of bhakti. And it has been used by Prabhu Vallabhacharya very efficiently, in terms of spreading the Krishna Bhakti all through Bharata Varsha. But here I would be attempting to present, I must say, a few glimpses of how Bhagavata Purana is also a major text of the Kevala Advaita Vedanta. So I'll move quickly to the topic. So this involves two steps. First is Bhagavata Purana as a major text of Vedanta, and the second is interpretation of the Vedanta as Kevala Advaita. Now, interpretation of Vedanta as Kevala Advaita, I'm too little a person to speak about interpretation of Advaita as Vedanta as Kevala Advaita, which has been done by great Maharshis and Acharyas such as Adi Shankara Bhagavad-pada. So I would be presenting here a lot of examples of Vedanta Vakyas, the ideas of Vedanta or the Upanishads as reflected in the Bhagavata Purana, and also certain examples where it clearly alludes or clearly gives us the glimpses of Advaita Siddhanta. Now, in terms of establishing something as a major text of Vedanta, you have this famous line from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi, Shrotavyo Mantavyo Nididhyasitavyaha. This is one of the sadhanas or the upasanas for Brahmajnana. The first is Shrotavyo. You must listen. But what you must listen? So here the Karta Vedanta Sara, he gives a further detailing to say that listen to those texts that have the Shadvida Lingas, the 6 characteristics. Those which ascribe to those 6 characteristics is what qualifies to be heard or to undergo Shravana. Now, what are those 6 characteristics? Shadvida Lingani. First is the beginning and the conclusion, the Upakrama and Upasamhara. That is, the Brahma Tattva or the message of the Vedanta must be clear in the beginning, must be mentioned in the beginning and towards the end of the text. Repetition or Abhyasa must be constantly re-emphasized or reinforced during the course of the text. Originality, Apurvata, is it saying something new? And in the Upanishads, we clearly allude this to the fact that the concept of Brahman, the idea of Brahman, the very existence of Brahman is told to us by the Upanishads. Result, what is the phala of knowing Brahman? Eulogy, Arthavada, that is glorifying the Brahman or the Atman. And demonstration, Upapatti, what are the various ways in which it can be demonstrated and told to the people through experimentation and various other techniques that Brahman exists, and this is the nature of Brahman. So these are the Shadvida Lingas, and you would find in different texts of Vedanta and Advaita Vedanta as well that these are various Upanishads are taken and are seen across these characteristics. Now here we are going to apply these characteristics or apply these Shadvida Lingas to Bhagavata Purana and see whether Bhagavata Purana is giving us a glimpse into these 6 characteristics. So the humble submission in this presentation is that Bhagavata Purana definitely is adhering to these 6 characteristics of the Vedanta Vakyas, and that is why it is definitely a major text of Vedanta and also that of Kevala Advaita. Beginning and the conclusion, the Upakrama and Upasamhara. As most of you would know who have read the Bhagavata Purana, it begins with the shloka Janmadhyasya yataha anvayaditarataha cha arteshu abhignaha swarat tene brahmahridaya adikavaye muhyanti yat surayah tejovari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra sargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta guhakam satyam param dhimahi. It begins with Satyam Param Dhimahi. The Dhimahi, which is a very famous part of the Savitri mantra. That supreme truth is what we meditate upon. And it begins interestingly with Janmadyasya Yataha. The very words, the very first Brahma Sutra, the very second Brahma Sutra, I must say, Athato Brahma Jijnasa Janmadyasya Yataha, the very second Brahma Sutra of Badarayana. It begins with that Janmadyasya Yataha. Whom is it speaking about? That Satyam Param Dhimahi. He is Abhijnaha, Sarvajnaha. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayaha. The great rishis and the great realized souls, they constantly revel in that supreme being. Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha. This Trisarga, this combination of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, the creation, it appears real, Amrisha. Just like Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo. Just like the interaction between the Teja, the heat, Vari, the water, and the earth, alluding to the Marumarichika, the mirage that you see. So there is an appearance that there is a mirage, but is there really a mirage? It's only an appearance. But this entire appearance is appearing to us because of what? Because there is a fundamental substratum, Dhamna Svena Sada, and that is Nirasta Kuhakam. It is devoid of any sort of malina, devoid of any sort of adulterations. So that Shuddha Dhama, on that Dhama, this entire play is going on, which very clearly also indicates the different aspects of the Vakya, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. Jagan is a Mithya, Jagat is a Mithya. It's an appearance, it's an illusion, is how the Advaita Vedanta states it. So very clearly alluding towards that supreme being who is the source of everything, the very first shloka. Now, when we come towards the end, the Dwadasha Skanda, towards the closing shlokas, you find this shloka, Kasmai Yena Vibhasitoyam Atulo Jnana Pradeepah Pura Tadrupena cha Naradaya Muniye Krishnaya Tadrupina Yogindraya Tada Atmana Atha Bhagavadrataya Karunyataha Tachuddham Vimalam Vishokam Amritam Satyam Param Dhimahi. It ends also with Satyam Param Dhimahi, that supreme being. And how is that supreme being? Shuddham Vimalam Vishokam Amritam. The very words with which the Upanishads also glorify Brahman. The Chandogya Upanishad says, Esha Atmapaha Papma Vijaro Vimrityaha Vishokaha. And the Kathopanishad says, Tadeva Shukram Tad Brahma Tadeva Amritam Uchyate. So Amritam, Vishokam, Shukram, pure, Shuddham, these are the various definite adjectives with which the Upanishads speak about Brahman, and the same kind of adjectives are applied to the supreme truth. In fact, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma, these are the very Swarupa Lakshanas as given in the Upanishads for Brahman. So the beginning and the end, Upakrama and Upasamhara, clearly speaking about Brahman. Abhyasa. Even if you take just one adhyaya, say the second skanda, the 9th adhyaya itself, you have so many references or mentions of that supreme Brahman in the language of the Vedanta itself. The first one, Atmamaya Mrite Rajan Parasya Anubhavam Atmanaha Na Ghateta Artha Sambandhaha Swapna Drashtuhi Ivanjasa. The external world doesn't just happen, it is an extension of the inner Atman. The Atman, through its power of Maya, is creating as an extended the world that you see around. Just opposite to the way we think about in the modern science, Vedanta starts from the Atman and then projects it completely towards the external world. Isn't this the same thing that Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada says in Dakshinamurti Stotram, the very first one? Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Atmani Mayaya Bahirivod Bhutam Yatha Nidraya. The very same idea that is being mentioned in the Purana. Yatha Atma Maya Yogena Nana Shakti Upabramhitam Vilumpan Visrajan Granhan Urnanabihi Yathornute. The very same example that the Upanishad uses in the Mundaka Upanishad. How is it that this world is created? What is the material? What is the efficient cause? What is Upadana Karanam, Nimitta Karanam? The Mundaka Upanishad says, just like the spider weaves the web, taking out the material from its own body and it itself being the creator of that web, similarly, this world is created by Brahman itself, and that itself is the material cause. There is no separate material cause. Yathoranabihi srijate grinhate cha. The Mundaka Upanishad says, and the same example comes in the Bhagavata Purana to explain the creation of the universe. In the very famous shlokas in the Upanishads, idamagra asit Brahma va idamagra asit sadeva somya idamagra asit ekameva advitiyam. That alone existed, that Brahman alone was there. The same is reflected in the Chatusutri Bhagavatam, where the Supreme Lord tells the Creator, Brahma, Ahamevasam evagre nanyat yat sad asat param. There was nothing. Ahamevasam evagre. I only existed in the beginning. And later on in the shloka, he says, I only will exist even towards the end. Even after everything comes to a naught, I alone will exist. So this is repetition, abhyasa, multiple, even within an adhyaya, so many times the same idea is repeated to give it more prominence. Originality. Now, Upanishads are credited with the originality, apurvata, of mentioning about Brahman. We come to know about Brahman from the Upanishads. Otherwise, how do you know that there is a thing called Brahman? We don't see it in the universe. We don't see it through pratyaksha. So, the Upanishads are credited with that apurvata. So, those statements again you find in the Bhagavata Purana as well. Like the Kathopanishad says, Yaha eshu sukteshu jagarti tad chukram tad brahma tadeva amritam uchyate. He who wakes, he is awake, awake even when the entire universe is sleeping. The same is mentioned in the Bhagavata Purana. Yena chetayate vishwam vishwam chetayate nayam yo jagarti shayanesmin ayam tam veda vedasaha. He who is awake when everybody is asleep, and he who enlivens the entire universe, he is to be known. Atma vasyamidam vishwam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. This is a beautiful line. The very first line of the Ishavasya Upanishad is Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. The Upanishad says Isha, Ishvara, and Bhagavata Purana, which is considered as a source, Bhakti Grantha, says Atma Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Isha comes in the Upanishad and Atma comes in the Bhagavata Purana, the same line. But then the question could be, then what is the originality of Bhagavata Purana? The Upanishads are credited with the originality, apurvata, of speaking about Brahman. They have already mentioned Brahman. Now, Bhagavata Purana is only repeating it. No, there is a speciality of Bhagavata Purana. The unique contribution of Bhagavata Purana is to come to the level of the people and say that, fine, if you don't understand the Nirguna Brahman, there is Nirguna Brahman, but there is no contradiction between the Nirguna and Saguna Brahman. That is why it lends itself to Bhakti as well. Prayena Munayo Rajan Nivritta Vidishedataha Nairgunyastaha Ramante Sma Gunanu Kathane Harehe. Shukacharya himself is saying, though the great realized souls, the Brahmajnanis, the Nairgunyastaha, they are established in the Nirguna Brahman, but they also revel, they also enjoy Gunanu Kathane Harehe. Listening to the glories of the Lord, they also enjoy. So there is no contradiction between the Nirguna and Saguna. The one who has already got established in that supreme truth, he doesn't find himself contradictory listening to the glories of the Supreme Lord and reveling in it. And to establish that, there is a beautiful in the episode of the Krishna Avatara itself. Now, somebody can say this mentions Harehe, so isn't it specifically speaking about Hari or Vishnu? So it's a Vaishnava Purana, it becomes a theistic. Fine, that is one aspect of it. But that very same Bhagavata Purana, when the Krishna Avatara happens, and Devaki and Vasudeva, initially all the descriptions of the Lord coming down as Vishnu is mentioned by Shukacharya. And then when Vasudeva and Devaki, they start praising the Lord, you see how what kinds of words are used by Vasudeva. He says, Sakshat Purushaha Prakritehe Paraha Kevala Anubhavananda Swarupaha Sarva Buddhi Drik. This is how he refers to the Lord. He doesn't refer to the Lord as saying you are with Shankha Chakra Gada Panehe Namasya Narayana. No. The first words that come out of Vasudeva are Sakshat Purushaha Prakritehe Paraha Kevala Anubhavananda Swarupaha Sarva Buddhi Drik, the supreme witness. Then later on, there is also a sort of reconciliation that is being done in this, where he says, Twayi Ishware Brahmani no Virudhyate Tvad Ashrayatvad Upacharyate Gunaihi. If people say that how is it possible that you are speaking about Saguna Brahman as Vishnu and Advaita speaks about Saguna Brahman?
You are towards the conclusion now, right?
Yes, Nagaraji. I'll just finish in a few minutes. I'll just complete it. So there is no contradiction. Ishware Brahmani, there is no contradiction between these two because the Nirguna Brahman acts as the Ashrayatvat. It is the substratum on which even the Saguna Brahman and its qualities are there. The result or phala is is a well-known phala that we see in the Upanishads as well, the removal of ignorance or ajnana, the identification of the self and the body, and the corresponding shlokas that we find in the Bhagavata Purana, knowing the Supreme Brahman and that it will help us cross the ocean of samsara and put an end to all our sufferings. Tapatrayon Mulanam, the very first shloka mentioned that. Seeing Brahman everywhere. Sarvam Khaluidam Brahma. The shlokas pertaining to that. And becoming one with Brahman. Jivo Brahmaivana Paraha. The example of the Ghatakasha and Mahakasha is given in the Bhagavata Purana itself, so that when both of them come together, evam dehe mrite jivo brahma sampadyate, punaha, it again becomes one with Brahman. Arthavada, speaking about the different adjectives which we have already spoken, but there are more examples that we find in both the Upanishads as well as Bhagavata Purana. Demonstration. The Supreme Lord that is present everywhere, Sarvam Khaluidam Brahma, he is taking a form, the very Narasimhavatara. Satyam Vidhatum Nijavritya Bhashitam Vyaptim Cha Bhuteshu Akileshu Chatmana. He is present everywhere as the Atman. Adrishyatat Adbhuta Rupa Mudvahan Stambhe Sabhayam Namargam. He took a form from that Adrishyatvam. From that unseen, he became the seen. From the Nirguna, he became Saguna and came. That itself brings a lot of beauty through a form of a story. And the other demonstration is the last shloka, last declaration by Parikshit when he tells Shuka Brahman, Bhagavan Takshakadibhyo Mrityubhyo na bibhemi aham. I am not anymore afraid of death from Takshaka or anybody else. Abhayam vai janakaha praptosi comes the declaration in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So these are the different demonstrations that you find. And very specifically, there are shlokas that speak about Kevaladvaita itself. Tasmin Brahmani Advitiya. This comes in the Daksha Yajna episode of Bhagavata Purana, where lastly Narayana says, Tasmin Brahmani Advitiye Kevale Paramatmani Brahma Rudraucha Bhutani Bedhena Ajnaha Anupashyati. Only ignorance see difference. Trayanam Eka Bhavanam. All the three are one. Yona Pashyati Vaibhidam. Sarva Bhutatmanam Brahman Sa Shanti Madhigachyati. He alone attains peace who sees no Dvaita. And the last Upadesha of Shuka Brahman to Parikshit, Aham Brahma Parandhama, Brahmaham Paramam Padam, Evam Samiksha, Cha Atmanam Atmani Adhaya Nishkale. You remain within yourself as that supreme being. So with this, I conclude my talk. These are just few examples that I have presented. There are many more in Bhagavata Purana. It's a treasure house. But I thank Indic Academy and Agaraji for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, that was one more wonderful presentation from Subramanian ji. There is this discussion all the time about whether Bhagavata Purana is a Purana of Advaita or Vishishtadvaita. Actually, people have seen almost every school of Vedanta in Bhagavata Purana. And there are Vyakhyanas written to Bhagavata Purana from that point of view also. Gaudiya Vaishnavas see Gaudiya Vaishnavism in Bhagavata Purana. For them, it's a very important text. But Subramanian ji substantiated his claim of Advaita Vedanta very well, very soundly, by giving wonderful references.